First things first, thank you guys so much for coming here. It's really encouraging for the both of us. So many people wanted to find out what we've been up to.
So we've basically just compiled a PowerPoint of random photos, and we just thought we'd kind of like briefly go through and explain what all of them are about. So yeah, I think so this is obviously when me and Levi were just leaving, and then this is when we had just arrived. And then this is kind of like a very wide view of Cape Town. I think this was one of our first days that we were there, wasn't it? So we first off thought that we were going to start just talking about our family. So, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, so, sorry, there's a bit of an echo. Yeah, so we were living there with close family. So one of our grandpa's little brothers, Uncle Ray, and his family.
Not so little.
Yeah, not so little anymore. Have we got slides for each of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is Auntie Jo. So Auntie Jo was sort of like a bit of a mother figure for us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so she was super encouraging for us the whole time we were out there. Uncle Ray, he was the big bad boss. He was really lovely. We enjoyed spending so much time with him. We ended up really close knit with the family while we were out.
Something that was really funny is that because Grandpa and Uncle Ray are so similar, down to the way that they sneeze, and also even though Grandma and Auntie Jo aren't related through blood, they are very similar as well. So it was literally like we were living with our grandparents, but just with South African accents. That was the only difference. And then this is our cousin Isaac, who is 18, 17 or 18. Yeah, we got really, really close with him. At the end of the 2.5 months, we were just bickering with him like a normal sibling. So
yeah, so we felt really at home while we were out there, and we settled in really well with them.
Yeah.
And it was literally just like
yeah, it was such a blessing. Yeah. So this is where we were based, so this is just kind of Cape Town, and then we were down here, so Muizenberg is probably the biggest town that's closest to us, and then Simonstown was just below here, roughly.
So we were in a little town called Glencairn. This was like a big hill that me and Uncle Ray hiked, so it's looking over it, and our house is over around that way.
Yeah.
So first things first, one of the places we spent a lot of time was with an organisation called Siakula, which is Norsa for We Are Growing, and so our aunt was really involved with that, and so we spent a lot of the sort of days throughout the week with Siakula, and so this is Errol who heads it up, and his wife Tracy, and this is the whole sort of team.
Yeah. Oh, so we just thought that we'd quickly, when me and Levi were over there, we were filming promo videos with them, so we just thought that we'd show you the promo video just so you can kind of see what Siakula's about.
So this is one that me and Vashti put together.
Yeah.
While we're out there.
My name is Jo Partridge, and I am an education therapist, and I am the manager of the Learning Centre. We started the Learning Centre in response to a lot of children falling through the gaps in our education system, and because of learning difficulties or because of just different situations, and with a lot of the families who we work with, a lot of them not being able to pay any school fees, not being able to provide the wherewithal to support their children. So it was really, in response to those needs and just seeing the massive crisis we have in our education system here. So we began with a pilot program this year. Basically, since halfway through the year, had a group of 11 learners from very different walks of life. We've seen incredible growth. We've seen it's been an amazing time. Very different personalities, very different giftings, but really trying to help children realise that they're wonderfully made. That even if they've got difficulties and things that they find very, very challenging, that we can actually help them with the tools. So our education is based around not just them learning and doing a curriculum, but around their emotions, their physical health, yeah, just every single area really.
Fun, exciting, joyful, very helpful, exhilarating, amazing, awesome,
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Hi, today my name is Gil Valentine. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Siakula South Africa. Siakula means we are growing. My wife Tracy and I lead Siakula. At this moment, we are so privileged to start off and launch of Siakula Learning Center, which has a primary focus of a psychosocial support to the families and for those that we serve in the various parts of South Africa and Cape Town. The main focus of the Learning Center is to make sure that every child grows to his or her God-given full potential. And the understanding is that we want to create an alternative to mainstream education and to make sure that we offer the necessary support to help children to thrive in various circumstances and to make sure that they grow to what God has intended them to be.
Yeah, so that was Thanks, Dave. So that was basically just like a little video about the kind of stuff that Siakula does in regards to the learning centre.
It's like a little glimpse into it.
Yeah. So Siakula also have a lot of different branches, which we'll just kind of run you through now. But this one's the learning centre. It was basically just really fun and upbeat. It was a very different style of learning than most of the children over there are used to.
Yeah, it was based in Bay Church, which is our home church when we're out there. And so it was all throughout that sort of building. We went on different walks in different areas and stuff as well.
Yeah. And then this was a day out to the planetarium. I don't know why they trusted me and Levi to take 3 of the children. But yeah, that was really good fun. And then this was when they were trying to do like a treasure hunt or something, wasn't it?
So they were working on like counting within school, and so they thought, oh, we'll count different things as we go outside. Say, look, and they'd see, okay, that's a tree, so that's one, and they'd sort out all the tallying and stuff.
And then another thing that we were part of was the food bank. So I think we did this maybe 4 or 5 times when we were out there. I think it goes out every other week.
Yeah,
so
this was another little branch of Siakula.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of packaging, and it would go to people in the townships, mainly the local township Fragrant. I said that right, didn't I?
Yes, good.
Awesome. So mainly in the local township Fragrant, where they just give food to people who are really struggling, and so it'd be all these big packages with loads of different sort of necessities.
They had, throughout COVID, they had a massive, like, what was it that they had through? They basically changed the whole church into a big food bank.
Yeah, there was I can't remember the numbers, but there was like a nuts amount of different things coming in. Yeah, there was constant food coming in, flowing through, and being made into bags to give out to people who couldn't work and stuff. Yeah. And then another thing that we helped out with, it was the accountancy and also health relief and finance. So we helped out a lot with kind of paperwork kind of stuff. They had like maybe 7 or 8 members of staff. Some of them were volunteers, some of them were part-time paid, but we just kind of helped out in anything that they really needed, didn't we? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this was us doing all the paperwork side of it, and we were like fixing their computers and trying to just do like all the little jobs that they needed help doing. We were happy to help out with.
Oh yeah, so then this is photos that Levi took of the, how do you
So this is the local township Fragrant, which it means free ground in, is it Afrikaans or Xhosa?
That's an Afrikaans word, yes.
Yeah, so it means free ground. It was one of the first settlements in South Africa. It was right outside our church. And so I think one of the first times we met Errol, the guy who heads up Siakula, really lovely bloke, he drove us through just to see what we were getting involved in. And so there was just rubbish everywhere. This is these are all the little shacks. So people would live with their families in these really tight spaces, and they wouldn't have any sort of power and stuff when load shedding came through. So it would just be pitch black at night time.
Yeah.
And it was really heartbreaking to see, especially when we saw it like first thing.
Yeah.
So load shedding is like, so you know when you get power cuts every now and then, they have that like consistently, and so it got better, it got worse. There were sometimes when we were getting 3 like power cuts scheduled for like 2 hours a day, and no matter where you are, unless you have a generator, which is very rare, the power just goes out and you have to just put up with it. And so whether that's an inconvenient time or not, it's something everyone has to deal with in South Africa because of the energy supplies and stuff.
Another really interesting thing, so when we first went through these townships, it was very it was a bit of a culture shock because we'd only got there like the day or so before he took us around this, and it's just the kind of stuff that you just see in like documentaries, so just seeing it in person really put it into perspective, didn't it?
Yeah, as well as that, when we landed down in the airplane, we went straight past a township that was similar, and it was really heartbreaking because you'd see like children digging through bins and stuff to try and find food, and there were just like chickens running around. It was really difficult to see, and it was like you say, a sudden culture shock. It was just really abrupt.
Yeah. So then this is another organisation that we helped out with, which is called Kids Africa, which is basically a sports academy where there's about 3 or 4 different kind of sports coaches, and they'll go around to different townships and basically conduct PE lessons within the township. So this was one of the ones. This is a nursery, isn't it? It's the equivalent. The ages are equivalent of nursery.
Yeah, it's Victory Kids.
This one's from the township. That one's from Victory Kids.
So there's a few up here from a place called Victory Kids. This is in a township called Massey, which was a really big one. And so we'd go in there, and I think we've got some photos later on of sort of the conditions that they were learning in. But you'd sort of open a door and there'd be like 20 of these little children who were just stuck in a classroom and they just swarm you.
Yeah.
It was,
So this one is their actual classroom. So they don't. That's one of the bigger rooms as well. I don't think I've got.
Some of them didn't have any windows. Some of them didn't have functioning lights. They were just sitting in the dark in tables, all squished together, just trying to learn.
So then we've also got another promo video kind of explaining about Kids Africa as well.
So we did this with a lady called Sharon. So
Kids Africa is an organisation that works mainly with kids, obviously, and focusing specifically on at-risk youth and kids, very much so in the rural areas. The main emphasis is life skills through sport. It's a very poor region. It's known as the poorest region in Namibia. A lot of the kids don't get to eat before they come to school in the morning. I got chatting to the local principal and told her what I do, and they were so excited. They were like, yes please, definitely can you come, because they don't have any extramural program, no sport program at all. Even the phys ed was very, very limited what they were doing and were required to do. So they were very happy when I said I could come in and help and possibly even get involved with their Bible ed, which they have as a subject. So all around it's going in and doing life skills through sport, but it's touching various different aspects as well, like the English and being able to get involved and help with food, and then, like I said, bring in the spiritual side of it as well. What I do now is I actually go to the school. I'll do the phys ed and things in the morning, also working with the teachers. So that's quite exciting. It's not only doing the sports side, but it's doing the phys ed side, working with teachers who've never ever played sport and just teaching them the basics of even movement. So linked to Kids Africa, we've started intentional travel. The concept behind it is that you come and you travel with an intention. The intention is to come and get involved in a rural area, a rural school, especially people that have come maybe from the cities or people from overseas that have never been exposed to a rural African village and setup. They pay a fee that then goes towards feeding the kids and facilitating the program. My heart is really to help the kids to see that there's life outside of what they've got, even if just for that day they can smile and laugh and have a bit of fun, and at the same time learn some ways to keep their body fit and healthy, and to just take love to them and just show God to them. I believe the way God works is through us. If I'm going there and stepping into that situation, I really believe that God goes with me. And when I step into those situations, His love flows through me. The talent of the kids up there is absolutely incredible. I honestly can't see myself doing anything else. I absolutely love it. It's really my passion.
Yeah, so it was an incredible organisation. We spent a lot of time doing sort of PE with them. These were some of the older groups, so they wouldn't be so much dancing, they'd be more sports, and so we did volleyball and that's not a great photo of me. Quite a lot of tennis.
Okay, so then another organisation we worked with is called Westlake. So what was it? It was Westlake United Trust of Churches. It was something like that. So basically, there's this big community centre in one of the townships over there, and a lot of different churches use that as a building for their meeting spot. So every Friday, they would basically host a young adults group and basically have a Bible study, but it was with a bunch of young adults who were very vulnerable to kind of gangs and violence.
Yeah, and again, they lived to a local, it wasn't technically a township, but it was sort of an area quite similar to one, like another settlement called Westlake. And so we actually spent a lot of time making these gift boxes for them, which I'm sure you guys have seen these gift boxes before, where you sort of put in stuff for it, and so we had to go out and buy all the right clothes so they could have a bit of a gift for Christmas. Okay, so YWAM stands for Youth with a Mission, and we went to see them a few times and ended up doing a few different bits. One of the ones we don't have photos of is we went and we were playing football with some children in another township. But this here was we were sort of painting and trying to help with they were making a building for.
Yeah, so this is a building that they had acquired, and it basically needed doing up because it wasn't in the greatest condition. But it was amongst a township where I think it's around the township is around the same size as Teignmouth, but there's.
It's the second biggest township in South Africa. It's called Khayelitsha.
Yeah, but there's 2 to 3 million people who live there. So we kind of got a bit of a tour around there, and then this is a building that they're going to be using as kind of like a youth centre if any of the youth feel in danger, which was really cool to get involved in, wasn't it? And then this is a kind of like another building which is kind of similar, but it's for after school kind of club doing homework. So there's some computers that they can use, and there's basically just a teacher who they can ask questions with if they need help with anything.
Okay, so Bay City Youth was a youth group went to, it was every Friday night after we went to Westlake, and so it was really incredible. There was one point where we ended up worshipping with them, which was super lovely. We were doing sort of teachings, and the worship was absolutely incredible. They were also training to do a flash mob thing, which was quite fun for the 30th celebration, is it? Yeah. 30th celebration of Bay Church, and so we were helping them with that, but we don't have any footage of it, unfortunately.
So you can't really see it in this photo, but there's about 80 to 100 youth who all live in the local township. And essentially, because it gets really dangerous in the townships at night, they have people who, as part of the church, who will basically have like this big bus kind of taxi thing and just drop them all home in the dark, wouldn't they? Because they're not able to walk back.
Especially during those times. Another sort of really incredible experience I had with them was one of the last, I think it was the last time we were at Bay City Youth, and so normally I'd go on the sound desk and try and help from there, and one of the youth actually like dragged me to the front, and so they'd all stand in a line and we'd play some worship songs and we'd be worshipping, and then and one person would step forwards and they'd do a dance. And then everyone would copy this dance, and so I found myself in front of this massive youth group trying to come up with a dance and try and make it not look English. Because obviously we're not really known for dancing in this country, and believe me, I'm not good at it either. But it was,
we're going to say it.
No, absolutely not. I don't think there's any footage of that again, fortunately. But yeah, it wasn't much to look at, promise you that.
So this is the church. This was before the last slide was Bay City Youth, and this is Bay City Church. So they have about 400 people there. There's not very many. There's not very many white people, are there? It's very.
There are a few people who are English. So yeah, I remember one had already introduced them to Ren Collective, so I didn't have to be the first person to do that. But yeah, they were all super enthusiastic. And,
It was a very Pentecostal church.
Yeah, very Pentecostal. So everyone would be sort of up at the front speaking in tongues, and people would just be celebrating without wondering what other people are thinking about them, and it was really, really refreshing. And so this is all the youth going to the front while they're doing like christenings and things. And the sort of family that they had in the church was incredible, because you go there and right at the start of the service, they'd just go, okay, who's new? And they'd go around and find everyone that's new, and they'd welcome them individually, which is really lovely.
Yeah. Their services were about 3 hours long. So they basically had a whole hour for maybe an hour for the worship.
Yeah, and that would be like 3 songs. It wouldn't be like 10 songs. They'd continue with it, and they'd just go with the wind with it. Really, it's very spontaneous.
Yeah. And then there's kind of like it kind of felt like there was a pre-sermon, and then there was the main sermon, and then there was people who came up after and spoke about the sermon. So it's a very long-winded thing, and it was very different, but we're glad that we could.
Yes, it was an incredible experience. Yeah.
And then this was the 30th celebration. There's a massive luncheon. So yeah, that's loads of people there. But,
yeah, they had to send everyone in and out at different times because there wasn't enough space for everyone. But yeah, it was a great like massive celebration.
Do you want to explain that photo there?
Yeah. Okay. So they had this big building that they were saying how blessed they were to have it and how excited they were, and so Pastor Sheldon, his dad, came in because he planted the church right at the start, and he came outside and they were blessing the soil and praying over it, and me and Vashti also got to turn the soil as they were hoping to sort of put out containers and build new facilities for the church, so that it can become more of like a community centre like we have here, where other people can use it.
Okay, so that was kind of like the missional kind of stuff that we got up to. So now we just thought that we'd run through some of the more touristy things. So as you can see, this is a very big ice cream, and Levi has a big head, so you can see how big the ice cream is. This was.
And again, this is me here. So this doesn't look very big, but Isaac is massive. He's like a really tall bloke, and so that's me, and that's the size of this pizza.
The pizza was absolutely huge, wasn't it?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
We did not realise the size of it, so we ended up getting 2.
Yeah. And then in the far corner over there is an outdoor cinema that I went to. Anyone who's not my family can answer this, but you get 3 points if you guess what film I watched.
Barbie.
No.
Think about.
Elf.
No. Good one though, Kim. I watched Mamma Mia, obviously.
Yeah, and we were also. Yeah, it was. Mamma Mia is terrible. Great. It's not good morals. Just remember that much. But yeah, we spent a lot of time playing tennis while we were out there as well, which we really enjoyed. And despite that, I still couldn't beat my dad.
This was kind of like a glow in the dark. They call it putt-putt over there, don't they?
Yeah,
but it's just like crazy
It's
golf.
crazy golf or mini golf.
And then we went indoor go-karting.
Yeah, so that was like it was really dark, and they had like these UV lights coming in, and so they'd have the balls you'd throw up on the floor and it'd light up, and it was really fun. And I won, so.
We don't talk about that. So we got up to quite a few hikes. This is a view from Table Mountain.
Yeah, so this is Lion's Head here, another mountain. So I think that's about 1,000 meters tall, isn't it?
I can't remember at all. Do you want to explain the whole Table Mountain story?
Not sure. Yeah, so Table Mountain, what temperature is it?
It was about 35
Yeah,
degrees.
so it's 35 degrees.
At 2 o'clock.
And so we thought we were going to climb Table Mountain because we'd already decided we'd do it. And so we went out with these. So it was like a youth group, and with our cousin left, and another older bloke who was doing that. And so we went up, and we were probably walking for 20-30 minutes, and the older bloke was really struggling, and so he said, "Look, guys, I need to go back." And so Matt told everyone, if you're not gonna make it all the way up to the top, you have to go back, because otherwise we'd end up stranded up on the top, and we'd come back in the dark, and it'd be really dangerous.
If we didn't get to the cable cars by 7 o'clock, then we'd have to hike all the way back down. And we started at 2 because it was going to take about 4.5, 5 hours to get up there.
Which was probably the
So
worst.
we were under time
to do, 'cause
pressure. Yeah.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
And so the bloke took another girl, and they went down, and we carried on walking for how long would it have been? An hour or two?
Yeah, another hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, so we were sweating, and I was carrying a lot of weight on my back as well. And Vashti didn't have hiking shoes, naturally.
I went for the fashion. I didn't take hiking shoes with me. I was wearing white trainers, I guess.
Was it those?
No, similar ones.
All right. But so we got up, and then we were up at the top, and we were up sort of a fair amount. So when you go, it's like a steep bit at the start, and then you go over the 12 apostles, and then up to the top, and that's when you can get the cable car down. And I think we were halfway up the steep bit, and people were still really struggling. And so they sort of decided that they didn't want to go any further. So we had to turn around and hike all the way back down, and then we drove. We got the cable car up and the cable car down. So
we can say that we hiked
Yeah.
Table Mountain. We can say that we got to the top, but we don't have to specify how far up or how we got to the top, basically.
Except from now, you will know that. So
Yeah. So just don't tell anyone else, basically. Oh.
Again, this here, so we did this walk with Errol. So this was Table Mountain National Park, which is a really beautiful sort of ravine area. It's like a forest, and there was a big lake going through. And so we went there for a nice walk. We went there for a couple of walks actually. So that was really lovely. And there's a little photo of us sitting on the rock up there, isn't there? Yes.
We had a lot of sunsets over there.
Some really nice ones.
This one's technically a sunrise.
Although, yeah, technically it's also called a sundowner.
Yeah,
I don't know if
they
you
call
know
it
this, but
sundowners
it is a
over there.
sundowner. And so that was Nordhook, which was the other side of the place. Yeah. And so this was our local beach, Glencairn Beach. And so we all thought we'd go out for a freezing cold swim in the morning as the sun was rising, which was really lovely. Just the initial shock's never super nice, if I'm perfectly honest.
We had a few beach picnics in the evening with the sun down as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wasn't left.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few days at the beach as well. We
Yeah.
went surfing.
We
I
did.
went a couple of times.
Yeah, we went surfing. This is Boulders Beach.
Yeah, that's right.
Boulders Beach, which is basically right next to Simonstown, and you just see penguins there, which is so strange because whenever I think about penguin, I associate it with cold weather. So the fact that they're just chilling and sunbathing.
So these, I don't know if you can see these here because some of you are quite far back, but these are all penguins. There's probably about 20 in that photo there. And there's a penguin in there too.
Oh yeah.
Snuck under the rock. And yeah, so that was right next to Windmill Beach, where we went quite a lot of times with a friend of mine, and we went sort of rock jumping and stuff like that. And yeah, that was probably Glencairn, that one there, I think. Yeah, so
Sorry, I thought you were going to take
yeah, it's alright. So Cape Point it's not the southernmost point in Africa, I think it's the fourth most, but it's if you basically, where we were, if you go south, you end up at Cape Point, which is quite a famous area. And so this was sort of the walk, we walked all the way up here, and I can't see where
That was the very end of that photo there.
Yeah, so that was, so we walked all the way up to the top, and then we went sort of down and around to the very tip, so that's where we walk into the end, and then this was a photo of over the drop, and there were sort of all sorts of baboons and stuff.
Then we decided to live life on the edge and hang out a window whilst Uncle Ray was driving.
Yeah, we decided to just sit out the window of the car because there was no one else around, and health and safety isn't quite such a big thing over there. So that was really fun. And then we headed down to the beach, and a group of girls walked past me and said there's ostriches over there if you want to go look at them. So
there's ostriches on the beach.
I think there's a video of Vashti giving me a piggyback because I was barefoot over these like spiky, like almost like thorn bushes to try and get some footage of these ostriches there, which was again a really good experience.
And then
shout out to the Mauritians.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do you wanna go on for this one?
Yeah, so basically when me and Levi went over there, we thought, you know what, we're not going to see anyone familiar, it's going to be great. There's one person we don't want to see, it's going to be Paul. And he decides to follow us over there. But then they did take us out to dinner. That's an ostrich salad, so we kind of ate our friends on the last slide, but they were really tasty. They It was a very kind of
It was
African.
really authentic.
Yeah.
So it was like 14 courses or something.
Yeah.
And they came along. You can see here they painted our
Face
faces and stuff. Yeah, and they were all up. And so basically, we walked in, and the first thing that we saw was on every single chair there was a bongo drum, which was something that I've never seen before. And so for the first half an hour of the experience, you were sitting at a dinner table with a bongo between your legs, and they were giving you a drumming lesson, which was incredible. It was something that was really cool. And yeah, then we did all this, and then there was all people dancing and stuff, and yeah, it was really good.
So then Levi and Paul aren't going to be Levi is, but Paul's not going to be expecting this. Basically, they went up dancing at the front of the stage, and I thought, because me and Karen had to be traumatised by watching their dancing, I thought we'd traumatise all of you as well. So just enjoy this.
Just for reference, the reason that I was dancing so poor, and I don't know how Paul was dancing so beautifully, it must just be like a natural talent, but we sort of were in there for a bit, and Paul goes, Levi, if we're going to go up to the stage, you're going to come with me? I said, absolutely, I'm going to come with you. And so we went up, we were some of the last people up, weren't we? And so we were right on this very end, you can see we're right at the very edge of the stage, and it's sort of like where they're all shuffling around and going in different directions, and so we felt like we were being shoved off the stage constantly. But also, this guy here, I couldn't see what he was doing, so I had no clue where to go. So if that excuses me, then
It doesn't at all.
Yeah.
A little bit of a live demo quick.
Yeah, go on, Levi.
Well, only if Paul doesn't with me.
So then we also, on our last week, we did wine tasting. And I know you're going to be shocked, but the cheese was actually incredibly cheesy over there, and
She's not being sarcastic.
No,
it was really
genuinely
rich.
really strong. But the wine was lovely, so we had was it six or so different?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, but that was really nice because, so this is our cousin Em. She lived over here with us for a bit, but she came over from Dubai because they were going to be spending Christmas with Uncle Ray and Auntie Joe, so that's something that we did, which was really lovely actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really nice.
And then this is Camps Bay, which is in a very kind of posh area next to
So we got
where
back
we
from
were.
the night out and thought, oh, we finally escaped Paul
Yeah.
and Karen. And then guess what happens? We bump into them again. But yeah, we went to the beach on Camps Bay, which was it was really beautiful going out. You can see, it was just a photo of the road. So, that's the one over. That's the one over there. But yeah, it was a beautiful, stunning road, and it was like a coastal path that sort of winded around, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've seen, except from Mum, of course. But yeah, we went out there and we had a bit of lunch and had some massive ice creams, and went for a walk along the beach, which was really nice. Okay, so we went to a game reserve called Aquila. So it's like if a zoo is like a million times bigger. So it's like massive cages, but you can't see where the edges are. And so because of that, all these animals were in like a really sort of densely populated area. And so here there were some zebras with elephants. We saw hippos really close up and out of the water, which is quite rare.
You can kind of see the buggy that we were.
Yeah, so these are the buggies, and they'd be doing crazy manoeuvres to try and give us good photos and stuff. And the elephants walked straight past us at different points, and some really beautiful giraffes, and we briefly saw a rhino as well, and we saw lions really close up as well, which was incredible. Yeah, so here was
This one looks a lot like Eden. So it's basically, like Levi said, it's a game reserve, and there's a hotel on it, so you can stay overnight, and then you have a late night drive on the day that you arrive, then you stay over, and then you have an early morning drive as well. So we travelled about 3 hours to get here. Yeah. As you can see, so me and Levi were trying to figure out, should we include this or not, but we thought we'd just let you guys know some of the scary stuff. amongst the other exciting stuff that we did.
And this might give a little bit more clarity over what Kezia was talking about a few services
Oh
ago.
yeah.
But you were driving. So.
Yeah, so we were basically driving back from Aquila, really excited about kind of the stuff that we'd just seen. And then about half an hour into our journey, I lose the power steering, and then the acceleration it just completely and then the bonnet starts smoking. So we pull over on this really main busy road. We don't really know what to do at this point, because we couldn't get through to Uncle Ray because he was preaching at church, and we couldn't get through to Auntie Jo because she was doing the kids' work. So we kind of just
we called friends and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And we couldn't really get through to everyone.
No.
To anyone, sorry. So we were sitting on the side of the road for probably 20-30 minutes just on our phone, completely clueless.
Yeah, it was about 15 or 20 minutes, and then a police officer came by and asked if we were okay, and we said, yeah, we're not really sure what to do. So he went round to a local garage.
Yeah, so he figured out what happened. So the engine had completely burned through because there was no coolant to go into the engine to cool it off as it was getting hot. And so the heat was up past max. And so he said, you need water and coolant. So he said, I'll be about 20 minutes. I'm gonna go pick up some water. And then so we're just sitting there, again completely clueless. We wait maybe another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then a car goes past, and then turns around and comes back. And there's some guy really urgently sort of rushing us, saying it's not safe to be here. It's really dangerous because you're right next to a township that's known for not so nice things. And so he was trying to encourage us along. And so meanwhile the policeman comes back, and so he has the water, but the guy has already chucked our water in, and he says, have you not told them how dangerous this is? And he said, no, I didn't really think of it, which was a bit silly. But.
So the guy Hamish, who came round after the police officer, he was a physical risk manager. So he was off duty, but his job is to kind of run training and courses for he used to be in the military, just to give people, what was it that he said that he did?
He was a risk manager, I think he called it.
Yeah.
But so he was telling us that we had to go with him. And this was a really concerning thing, because a stranger comes up to you and says, get in my car, you think, no, go away. But it was quite an urgent situation. And so he had a wife and a dog, which I guess sort of helped a bit, but we squished into the back, we chucked our stuff in the back of the car, and we left our car on the side of the road.
At this point we had gotten through to Uncle Ray,
Yeah.
and Hamish had given him the details, his phone number, his location, the location of the car.
Yeah. And so bearing in mind Hamish was already late for something he was going to, he turned around and he drove the wrong way so that he could drop us off, for 20 minutes, so that he could drop us off at a little petrol station, a little cafe area. Yeah. And so we sort of waited there, and he drove off, making sure that we were all safe. And then we waited until Uncle Ray came and picked us up.
We just didn't quite realise the severity of kind of the situation that we were in, because we were on the side of the road for about 20 minutes, and when Hamish had picked us up, we travelled down a bit towards where the main township is, and we saw people with rifles kind of in a big group. And then Hamish was saying that if we left it another 10 or 20 minutes, it's likely that it wouldn't have.
Yeah, comes down to it's a little bit morbid, but the people would have probably come, and 5-10 minutes later, they would have stripped the car. They probably would have killed me, and they probably would have taken Vashti.
Yeah.
So it was quite a severe situation.
Yeah, and he was really thankful that he'd got there before anything else had happened. But then it was all. After that, it was all fine. Uncle Ray came and picked us up from the service station. I think we were there for maybe about 3 hours or so.
Yeah, because it was so far from home that there wasn't really anything we could do other than wait for Uncle Ray to come and pick us up.
So actually, interestingly, the day before, I think it was the night before this happened, Kezia got a real urge to pray for mine and Levi's safety. And she had no idea why, but she just prayed that we'd be safe, and then she found out that this happened, and it's just such an answer to prayer. So I don't know where Kez is, but
Legend, we owe you one.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, on to some more funny stories.
Yeah.
We went kayaking with Uncle Ray around kind of Simonstown around the Bay Area, but
So we
there's
told you
some
about Boulders
penguins
Beach,
there.
where the penguins were.
Yeah.
So we went all the way around to Boulders Beach and all the way back. And
So we got there, and then on the way back, the weather took a real turn.
yeah,
And you
so
can't see here, but it was so it was very
waves
stormy.
were going up like this high. It was massive. I think we were singing Moana at one point.
Yeah, we
which
were
is
singing
pretty
Moana.
standard for us. But then it was just really rough, and the spray was in your face. It felt like it was raining, even though it looks really sunny. And so we're going along, and so these people go off this way, and we thought, oh, we'll cut it. And so we end up really far away from anyone else. And some of our friends that we made shout to us and say, Vashti, can you take a photo of us? So Vashti, she breaks out her phone and she takes a photo of them. And meanwhile, I'm heading towards this thing. So I have to steer with my feet and do all the achy bits and try and pull us along. And then we end up going towards this thing. I'm like, Vashti, please, can you put your phone down so you can paddle? Vashti, put your phone down. Vashti, paddle. Vashti, put your phone down. And then we go straight over. So there's a...
We capsized. I just wanted to take good photos for these people
So
because...
this photo here is a live photo, and so essentially the photo is still, and you see a sudden jerk, which was us falling over.
We're
And
just
so-
scrambling for our Crocs.
And so
everything.
I managed to reach over and pull it all the way back, and it turns out our rudder's broken, which is, so our rudder broke, and so I get in, I'm trying to turn us away, and I'm like, Vashti, please, can you get in the boat? And she's like, no, I'm trying to pull it out, and I was like, Vashti, please just get in the boat.
Yeah, but we would have just
eventually-
tipped over again if I'd
Eventually
stayed
she hops in and we manage to go around, but without any sort of reasonable steering. And so because of this lack of steering, we end up going towards a shipwreck. Meanwhile, Vashti's on her phone.
Taking photos again though, because look how nice
So
that
we go
photo
straight
is.
into this shipwreck, and we have to get this bloke to come along. So this really lovely guy, we had a natter with him, he came over, he fixed the rudder, pulled us out. I'm going along, and next thing I know, Vashti's still on her blessed phone, which was, honestly, it's ridiculous. I wasn't super happy at the time, but
I did get some good photos of guys, so it was worth it. I'd do it again if we needed to.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
So on our last evening before we were coming home, we hadn't yet done Lion's Head. So the two of us and Uncle Ray and Auntie Jo.
So when we were on Cape Town, I pointed out there was like a little looking mountain. Yeah, that's called Lion's Head. It's the most hiked mountain in South Africa.
I think so. I can't remember if it's in the world.
Maybe in the world, yeah. It was but there was sort of loads of people going there. That wasn't an intentional smolder, I can promise you that.
Yeah, so they're like ladders. Some of the places you got to, there were ladders that you actually had to climb in order to get up any further.
So it was trying to get all the way up and around this mountain. Paul and Karen did it a few days before us, didn't we?
Much quicker than you as well.
Yeah, well,
We did it in less than an hour.
Yeah, 50 minutes. Give or take.
Yeah, is that minus the breaks?
Yeah.
So we were up there and we brought sort of food and stuff, and so you can see this here. So that's Table Mountain, and the way that they call it the tablecloth when the clouds sort of settle on it, and it was really stunning to look at.
We got up there just as the sun was setting.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the sun started going behind the sea, you could see everyone just quickly get up and start hiking down as quickly as possible, so they don't lose too much light.
It was a really beautiful
Yeah.
sunset, and so we had a bit of a picnic out there, and we were just enjoying it, and then we had to go down quickly as it was getting dark, and because as it gets dark in areas like that, it's really dangerous that you can get robbed.
Yeah.
So we had to sort of hurry down and then managed to get
They
home
had
safely.
quite a few muggings recently on Lion's Head as well,
Yeah.
so. But we went down with a bigger group of us. But I'd say that this is probably one of our top memories over
Oh,
there.
absolutely!
Yeah?
It was really stunning.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And this was the last night actually as well. Yeah. And so we spent the night and we sort of lit a fire and had whiskey, cigars and whatnot. And in the morning.
I didn't. Don't
Yeah,
associate me with that.
Vash didn't have
I didn't have a cigar, guys.
But so in the morning they had this like tree, and so we decided to paint on this tree, and we thought we'd set up for Christmas. It was because it's not quite such a big thing out there, but we thought we really want to put up a Christmas tree, so we went and got one. So this was the 14th of December, and that's a picture of Uncle Ray holding a machete to my neck. So we were using that to sort of chop the tree and stuff and try and put it down.
We didn't feel Christmassy at all because over there you have like Father Christmas with like a Christmas hat, but then he's wearing like board shorts and has a surfboard. So it wasn't like at all what we'd have over here. but it was nice that we were able to experience that. The tree is quite funny looking, but I mean, it was better than nothing out there. Yeah. And then I think, yeah, this is our last slide.
Yeah, so
So
I
this
think we ended up
was-
saying goodbye like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, we
we were
did.
going back and forth, like goodbye.
So it looks
goodbye.
over here that Uncle Ray's running away from us as fast as possible when they were saying goodbye, but in fact he was actually trying to get somewhere to say goodbye to us closer. Yeah, this is Isaac, and then when we arrived back home, we were in London for a while. My friend Neve picked us up from the airport at like 4:45 when we were both wearing shorts. It was not a smart idea, it was freezing, 20 degrees temperature difference. But yeah, that was really nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really lovely. And that's
Yeah.
what included it. And then we spent a few days up in London with the family, which was really lovely.
So also we just wanted to quickly see if anyone had any questions, because I mean we've basically just dumped loads of
We
stuff.
just talked at you for the
Yeah.
last however long.
So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
I was going to say, what happens to all that rubbish in the township? You have one photo of loads and loads of rubbish. What happens to all that?
Yeah, so essentially there was no real way to get rid of all the rubbish, so they just chucked it in a massive heap and it just ends up going everywhere, and it just builds up and it doesn't really get taken away because no one's very proactive with it.
They do sort through it to see if there's anything valuable.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Levi said, it's kind of
Yeah,
just
mainly
moved
it's
away.
just left on the floors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
You only mentioned safety a couple of times, but from what I hear on the media, and I've had some feedback from the Exeter Chiefs when they were over there, it comes across as a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
Now, you can say no comment if you want, but what did you actually feel? Do you have this adventure all the time? This is a dangerous place.
See, when I'm in England, I'll happily walk around in like the pitch black and not really give much of a care. But over there, it was something we were really quite aware of, and we weren't trying to stay out. If it was dark, we were home, except for the occasion that we went down Table Mountain, and we were trying to do that in a rush. We didn't go anywhere apart from if we were with friends, we didn't split up at all. If Vashti wanted to go to the gym, I got dragged along to the gym. Vashti wanted to go tennis, I got dragged along to tennis. But yeah, we spent a lot of time together over those towards 3 months, and we've gotten really close in that time. But we also had a fair share of
But
squabbles.
you can actually feel that.
Yeah.
That you can't feel here in this country.
Yeah, it's just a sort of general concern, and there's a lot of a larger awareness for it. I think.
Even in like the broad daylight, I'd be walking around with Levi and Isaac, and I still felt like uncomfortable. So I don't know, it was just very obvious that we were like tourists. So it was just, yeah. And even like
We stood out like a sore thumb.
we did, yeah. And even like in the night, we weren't really supposed to be driving in the dark, but coming back from youth groups, like we had to make. I think the cars over there automatically lock, especially our one did anyway. But like it was often. I'm not saying that I did, but it was often that people would run red lights, especially in the dark, because it is so common just to kind of be robbed at a red light. But yeah, but we were really blessed in that we only kind of had that one kind of.
Yeah, and we definitely had God's protection over us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
grateful
okay.
for that.
Look on the good side. Look on the good side.
Just to clarify, the lights and that are what they call robots back home, isn't it? Call them light changes. It's an unwritten rule that you don't stop, especially at night time. You kind of just cross with caution.
Yeah.
Many do, and that's also during the day as well. So you've experienced a very different way of life over there, and I think that the media doesn't always portray the full truth of what goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
The townships is a very different place, and you've experienced something that not many people do, and massive blessings in that, but definitely God's hand is on you.
Yeah, it's definitely very different customs over there. Another thing, load shedding, it didn't just hit like the houses of the poor people. It would literally like turn off the robots, we call them out there, you turn off the lights, the traffic lights, sorry, mind blank. So it turned off the traffic lights, and so people would just have to, if you got there first, you went first, basically, and so it was, I think everyone was sort of used to that, so it was just a normal out there, really. Yeah, shoot.
So how would you describe your spiritual journey? So when you come back, how are you different?
That's a good one.
I just think that I don't even really know how to put it into words, but over there we were just so pushed out of our comfort zone, weren't we? And we just basically had to rely on God's protection for like every day, and just seeing like being involved in the Christian organisations that we're involved in, seeing how these like young adults who have basically nothing and are in danger like all the time, and just seeing how much they're still like they've still got such strong faiths.
Yeah. Auntie Jo was telling me that I'd really sort of grown in faith and in compassion, which is a really big thing. But yeah, I definitely feel like I matured when I was out there. And those of you that go to DCYC might have come across the term post-camp blues. And so bearing in mind I was out there for towards 3 months, I sort of came back and when I wasn't working, I was just sitting at home just feeling like I don't really feel like I'm doing as much as I can be. And so that was a bit of a low coming out there. Yeah.
Right, be honest, which is better, barbecue or braai?
Braai is better.
I would say braai.
Yeah. See, over there, barbecue isn't a thing you do. Barbecue is a flavour. So they'd have braais and they'd have like all these big like sausages and stuff, and it'd be like a massive barbecue, but they'd make like a whole feast of it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Love a good braai.
Surely we've got some more. There we are, John.
I was going to say, you're by the water and in the heat. You never mentioned flies about you, mosquitoes.
We
It
didn't. I
wasn't
didn't
very
even
bad.
get. Yeah.
We went out there, and
and
one of the first things we bought was like cans of like insect repellent and stuff. But,
We didn't use it
but we
once.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't use mine once either.
No.
It really wasn't that much of a problem at all.
No.
There was a few flies every now and then. Mainly struggling with bigger things.
Love English.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, so I hear, but yeah, more bigger pests like tarantulas
And scorpions.
Scorpions, that's the one. That was great. Yeah.
What did you think of the food in the restaurants? And did you try
Did we try?
cream soda? The green
Yes,
No,
I
it
tried
looked too
cream
funny.
soda. One of my South African friends asked me to bring it back, so I bought 2 and brought him a bottle back. It was nice. It was just like it's very sweet, yeah. Food is really good. Please don't hurt me, but I'm not a massive fan of biltong.
What?
No. Very
Yeah,
overrated.
but I love rooties. Rooties are incredible.
Yeah.
Rooties, yeah.
Did you eat crocodile and elephant and all that sort of thing?
No, I think the most exotic we got was the ostrich. No, we didn't eat anything quite as crazy as that. Mark.
From the experience that you've had over in South Africa, how has that been changed how you live over here?
Good one.
Let me just process what you said.
Yeah, that's a really tricky question. I think I'm definitely going to live my life with a lot more awareness of that sort of thing, and instead of living in ignorance and thinking that's just something the media makes up, it's something I'd like to sort of be more aware of and invest more in as I sort of mature through life and stuff.
And as Brits, we tend to complain about everything. So whether the Wi-Fi is slow, or like even we complain about our
You get
NHS, our
if you
free
get a power cut for
healthcare.
5 minutes, you're not happy.
Yeah. Or like we complain about our free healthcare system, but over there they're just so you don't see anyone complaining. Like you see these. We saw a lady and her child on the side of the road who I think they'd just been given some food, and they were so joyful and so happy, even though they're homeless and don't have any money. Like we're so blessed over here, we just don't realise it.
Yeah, there's so much appreciation and there's so much love for God out there that I found in churches. Everyone's so enthusiastic, and they like I said, they just don't care what people think, and they just want to worship. It's really incredible.
Go on then. I'm looking at you so you can answer.
No, it's okay. So, what did you guys do like entertainment during Nova Day? Like, what did you?
We played lots of board games. They got very heated. So Monopoly Deal, like I whipped you out earlier. We spent a lot of time playing Monopoly Deal. I played lots of where's Grandpa? I played lots of backgammon with Uncle Ray, didn't I? So I'm now beating my grandpa at backgammon too, aren't I? And we did Catan. Yeah, Settlers of Catan was a good one. Yeah, we played lots of Risk. That was very love-hate, I think, wasn't it? Because we'd sort of be poking each other the whole time. But Catan also got very intense. I think the first time we played it was when we were trying to learn it, and we were all extremely overtired, and so we were just laughing so much because we were in hysterics, and it was absolutely ridiculous. It was like
It
really.
must have taken about 2.5 or 3 hours.
It was absolutely ridiculous. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was good fun though, yeah.
What low points did you have over there where you felt you really needed to press into your faith? Because we've talked about lots of highs, and some scary bits. So are there any times where you felt sort of, the sort of low or alone, far from home?
You missed your mum or anything?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I'd probably say the first couple of days we were there, so when we were just like the culture shock, and we weren't very well on the second day.
It was the second day. We were both feeling really poorly, and we just sort of come in. We hadn't done anything productive, and we had just been through like townships and seen all this horrible stuff, and yeah, it was just not an enjoyable time.
No.
I was going to say something else. Yeah, it's slipped my mind. If I remember it, I'll tell you guys. Don't worry.
But I'd probably say that was probably one of the lowest points at that point. When we were coming back from Aquila with the breakdown, at the time we didn't realise how dangerous it was, so we didn't really clock kind of the situation that we were in, which is probably good because we would have probably been worried a lot then, but yeah, fortunately that was all sorted before we had a chance to worry about it. Yeah.
Did you take any notes about how to do the Pentecostal service?
Yeah, see, we brought you praise this morning. That's a big one.
Yeah, that was one that
love
they did over there. Yeah.
It's that's a good question. I don't know that we've really brought anything back that we've sorry. I don't think we've brought anything back that we can sort of suddenly go, boom, we're doing this, and then it'll change everyone's lives.
Are you happy to sit for a 3-hour service?
Happy to sit through the hour of praise?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it was just really about the sort of energy and love for God, and just people sort of not caring about what others think and getting really involved with it that made it so different out there. Which you don't really. I feel like over here people tend to be a lot more reserved just because of how our culture is, and so neglecting that, I think you'll be a lot more joyful. Yeah. Each and every one of you.
When you were over there, what was the most thing you missed about home? And now you're here, what's the most thing you missed about?
I know what Vashti's going to say to the first one.
I don't know what I'm going to say. Oh, scones. They didn't have clotted cream over there, so we had to have our scones with just double cream.
It felt like a sacrilege.
It was really bad. It was really, really bad.
And the milk was different, and the apple juice was different.
The apple juice did taste funny.
But by the end, or by a few weeks in, I was thoroughly missing family and friends. I had a close mate who was going through a bit of a rough time, and I felt like I couldn't really be there for him. But I really missed family. What's the second part of the question?
What do you miss most now about Kingston?
I really miss Uncle Ray, Auntie Jo, and Isaac.
And the heat.
The heat's nice, but yeah, I felt like we were all really close knit.
Yeah,
we were like
definitely.
It's like a second family, and I'm really missing them.
Yeah.
That question just then from your dad, when he said what the Jewish most, he was wanting you to say mummy and daddy.
I more or less covered it.
Do you think this trip has informed your vision, what you might do in the future?
Oh, good one.
You go for it.
I'd love to go back and get involved with the same thing. I don't know if it's on the cards at the moment, to be perfectly honest, with current financial situations and trying to invest in building a future and a career for myself. But it's something I'd really love to be able to support the people that I've got involved with. I'd really love to be able to sort of give money out to them to try and help them and stuff. And if I could get back, I would in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I'd probably just say it really kind of solidified my passion for working with youth, because just being over there and seeing just the youth groups over there are so completely different from one youth group to another. And yeah. Oh.
too. So going out and i.e. following up with other projects, come and speak to us. We've got the Transport project for you to go out to, which is going to be awesome. Fairly costly. Talk to me about that one. And then, didn't you go to Robben Island?
No, we didn't.
No.
I know.
No, so Robben Island is it's like a little island that was sort of out off the coast a bit. It was it's known for
Mandela. If you want to hear about Robben Island, ask Paul and Karen because they went there.
Yeah, but no, we didn't end up getting around to that.
Any other questions? Oh no.
So I imagine you probably learned to appreciate new things about one another.
Yeah.
What were those things? Levi about Vashti, Vashti about Levi. And I also imagine there's probably like barbed wire around out there a little bit. And was there any particular experiences that remind you
See,
of
I
barbed
love
wire?
my sister to bits. She's an incredible person, and I definitely learned that. It did exercise my patience. I'll give you that much. But yeah, I think she's just a really strong Christian woman and an inspiration.
Levi, honestly, he was very patient.
I was waiting for her to slay me.
No, he was very patient, and I think he doesn't take enough credit for the stuff, like kind of just supporting in general. And yeah, he's a half decent brother.
Some of the sweet things.
Paul asked about the barbed wire.
Did you find any barbed wire anywhere, Levi?
Oh, I did. Are you sure you want that tarnishing your reputation?
I don't mind. I think
Okay,
it's
so
important.
we were out in this authentic restaurant, and there were with all the 14 courses and stuff, and so we had a drink or two, and we split a bottle of wine between us, and then they come in and they say, would you like some shots with your bill? And so Paul being Paul, no, I'm joking. And so they come over and bring all these bottles, and say, Vashti and Karen, you have Amarilla. And Paul says, Levi can choose my shot. So I think, oh, I've got a chance now. I can pick something that looks a bit dangerous. And so there was this one bottle that was wrapped in barbed wire. And so I asked a question or two, and then said, me and Paul will have that one. And so there's a video somewhere of me and Paul drinking a very high percentage like liquor with this. It was wrapped in barbed wire in the bottle. I don't know how they poured it.
Painfully.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
An observation, I think you guys are amazing, and I can see huge growth just in that 3 months. I can see the blessing it's been to you, to others, to us. Yeah, absolutely fantastic, and a real example. And if I were these young people here, I'd be starting to think about some things after your experiences.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us. Some of you financially, spiritually. It's we couldn't have done it without you guys. It's been a privilege.
And just being over there and knowing that we have all of your guys' support was very kind of encouraged us and pushed us on, didn't it? Because we were very far from home. And yeah,
we love you, Vashti and Levi. We love you.
Thank you, Joss. Yeah, we just feel so blessed that we just have such a large kind of support group. So yeah,
and
thank
we
you
had
so
the
much.
opportunity to do that, and yeah, it was definitely God's plan. So blessed, and the protection as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Don't let anyone stop you from where you want to go. Go. Let the Spirit take you. You will be okay.
So yeah, I think on that note, unless anyone else has any more questions, I think that's it. Feel free to come and talk to us after. Please take some of the crudités with you because we don't want too many carrots coming back to our house.
And those of you that sort of feel moved to any sort of support to the organisations we're working with would be absolutely incredible for them, and I know that each and every one of them would appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we're at camp and they